Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another movie review. Ooh, do you believe in ghosts? Ghost stories? Well, if not, you better be prepared, because you're in one. Oh, wait, that's the wrong movie, based off a theme ride attraction. Uh, instead, we have The Haunted Mansion. Not the one that just came out, but the new, not the one that just came out, I should say, but the OG one actually from 2003. Initially based off the Disney theme ride attraction. And in all seriousness, I do actually want to review the Pirates of the Caribbean movies at some point. But nevertheless, and I'm pretty sure I butchered the quote. So any of the Pirates of the Caribbean fans who want to crucify me for that quote, I apologize. But nevertheless, as always, I'm not professional movie reviewer analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. I had an okay time with this movie. Now, this is another movie that I kind of grew up with. I had it on DVD, and I would watch it very often on DVD. But does it still hold up so many years later? Let's find out. So, as always, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about basically what I liked and what I disliked about the movie. So, starting with what I liked, I know a lot of people don't really like this movie as much. It got critically panned when it first came out. I was sitting at a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. But for me, it was just a fun little time, just a movie that you put on, kind of when you're bored or when you're you gotta entertain the kids and stuff like that. And I did have it on a DVD, and like I said, I would watch it often growing up. So, kind of a movie in that regard, and it is based off the Haunted Mansion theme, right? Although more of an original story as opposed to directly adapting the story. There are some elements of it there. Pretty much, just the plot goes that we have the Evers family, consisting of Jim and Sarah, who are real estate agents. But Jim is way more of a workaholic. But you decide, forget work. We're gonna take the family on vacation. They have two children, I should say, a son and a daughter, Michael and Megan. So they decide they go on a vacation, but first they get a call, in regards to the house being sold by Edward Gracie. He and his butler Ramsley. They go out there to check it out against Sarah's wishes and to Jim's delight, because they want to sell this house, but they're trapped there because of the storm. So throughout the course of the night, a lot of stuff goes down. They find out about a mystery. They find out that there's a reason that they're there. It wasn't a coincidence, and it turns out that Sarah just so happens to look like Elizabeth, who it turns out Gracie was going to marry a long time ago, but she died, apparently from unaliving herself. So Gracie then unalived himself, hoping that he'll be with her, but because the mystery is unsolved, Gracie and his ghost and several other ghosts throughout the house essentially occupy the mansion. But eventually, the truth is revealed that it was actually Ramsley who killed Elizabeth. He poisoned her and forged a unalive note, a self-unalive note, in order to trick Gracie into thinking that Elizabeth unalived herself, of which they straight up show in the intro. The movie has kind of like a little intro showing kind of some of the events. Elizabeth dying, Grace he unaliving himself. They even show him like hanging, which is wow. Oh, in a Disney movie no less. And in 2003. This wasn't like 90s PG where or it was a lot darker. This was 2003, which wow, wow. But nevertheless, the truth is revealed. Gracie tries to marry Sarah, who he thinks is Elizabeth because he's been lied to. But Jim, the children, and Ezra and Emma, who are kind of like almost like henchmen to Ramsley, but not he but rebel against him, uncover the truth. Who some hijinks ensues, including having to go into a mausoleum and deal with some zombies as well as spiders in order to uncover the truth about everything. The truth is revealed. Ramsey is essentially sent to hell, and Gracie and Elizabeth. Elizabeth's ghost comes back, so Elizabeth's ghost was there as kind of a spirit guiding our protagonist in order to uncover the truth, and it's revealed to be Elizabeth. The truth is unveiled. So they go off to heaven as well as Ezra and Emma, which I actually don't think Ezra and Emma, if I recall correctly, I actually know their names because of the wiki here, but I don't think they were ever referred to by name in the movie. At least I don't think. But yeah, so they all go to heaven. All the spirits that occupy the house are sent up to heaven, and the family ends up going to the lake. So, kind of a fun, interesting little movie there. Nothing too serious, nothing too crazy. This isn't like Scorsese or anything like that. Just a fun little time, and for that, it's really not that bad. I know some people try to treat this like the worst thing ever. Or not really the case. It's just kind of that not bad acting. The effects are fine for the time. This was 2003, but and we definitely have seen like a lot worse in 2003 and even before and since. But yeah, for the most part, just a fine little movie, I think. And nothing too spectacular, nothing too crazy. Like I said, this isn't supposed to be some like big dramatic Oscar-worthy movie. He just more so just a fun little time. It does star Eddie Murphy. I do love Eddie Murphy personally, but yeah, so just kind of a fun little time in that regard. Or you get some scares. It's not really supposed to be a horror movie per se. It has some like horror elements such as zombies, spiders, and the undead, but more in like the comedy realm. But yeah, other than that, just like a fun little time, and mainly want to revisit it because as I think with a lot of these movies, I kind of accidentally on purpose revisited a lot of movies from my childhood, kind of Halloween themed or like having some like spooky horror like elements from my childhood to see if they hold up. And this one I think does and doesn't, because going to why I didn't really like as much about the movie. For starters, it is once again pretty short. Now, granted, all the movies we've looked at so far have admittedly been kind of short, but this one is actually I think the shortest out of all four Halloween movies that we've covered so far. Or I think this one is like the shortest. It's about hour 29 runtime, but without credits, it's probably more like an hour, maybe like an hour 15 or so, give or take. But yeah, so pretty short movie, and it does kind of just course by and doesn't necessarily overstay its welcome in any regard. So it comes in and it comes through. Doesn't really overstay, but it is kind of short. But also, I think the moral that they wanted to teach and kind of the ideas, I feel like the ideas are there, and the moral they wanted to teach, that being hold on to the ones you love, try not to be so so complacent, if you will. Cherish the ones you love dearly. I feel like it kind of gets lost in translation because, yeah, you can see some elements of that. Jim is definitely, like I mentioned, definitely like a workaholic, always thinking about work, stuff like that, which is something we've seen before. And or and we he see him kind of try to appreciate his family more and kind of have that moment of realization, like, man, I've been like neglecting my family and stuff like that. Even though, oh, it's not like other workaholics where he has no time for his family. He does obviously interact with them and stuff like that, but definitely more so at work almost all the time. Which to be fair, it is like that sometimes. Some parents do work quite a bit. So you don't really see them as often, but yeah. So they want him to be more like appreciative of his family and everything. Try not to work and everything so much, and hold the ones you love up dear, like Gracie and Elizabeth. It, but it also kind of tries to have that like mystery element, kind of a who done it kind of scenario. What is the truth? Is Elizabeth really dead? And thankfully, or not is Elizabeth really dead, but who killed Elizabeth? Did she really unalive herself of what's going on? Which thankfully, like the twist, you can kind of see coming, but but I think the way they did it, I just think was still fine. And it's something you can kind of see coming, but it's not like one of those things where it comes out left field. But it's also not one of those things where it's too obvious. You know, it's somehow linked with Ramsley because Ramsley is like very suspicious, if you will, as a character, but you don't quite know the connection. And then when the twist happens, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's a conclusion you could have came to, but when it's confirmed, you're like, oh, okay, so a decent little twist. But by trying to have both those elements, I feel like it does kind of get lost in translation, and maybe the length of the movie might have something to do with that, but those two do kind of get lost in translation. The ideas are there, but the execution isn't always followed through as much as it could. Like, it tried to balance being a mystery, having the moral that it has, and being like a short little family fun adventure, and it doesn't necessarily excel in those departments. It does it does check off the boxes, but it doesn't really excel. It meets the requirements, if you will. It meets the requirements, but it doesn't really excel at them. And so this stuff is done fine, but it could have been done better. Let me know if that makes any sense. But yeah, otherwise, not something that is meant to be overly analyzed, overly seen as such a great cinematic masterpiece of our time. More so, a fun little movie. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the movie, my review. Did you like to like the movie? Did you like to like the review of the movie? Excuse me, but because next week only has 2 days left in October, but Tuesday is Halloween, so I am going to see if I can try to maybe squeeze one more Halloween related review in there. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.